You're standing in a courtroom. Modern, fluorescent lights buzzing, a killer in handcuffs, justice served, case closed. You think this is the end of the story. It's not. It's the entrance. We're walking backwards now, through decades, through centuries, through the entire blood-soaked timeline of human civilization, and with every step you take into the past, you'll realize something that should terrify you. The monsters didn't evolve with us. They were always there, waiting. The Soviet nightmare. Andrei Chikatilo. The year is 1990. The Soviet Union is collapsing. And in the chaos, something has been feeding. You're a prosecutor in Rostov. For 12 years, bodies have been appearing in the forest strips along railway stations. Children, women, young men, 52 confirmed. The real number? Nobody knows. Here's the part that should make you sick. They caught the wrong man, executed him. Alexander Kravchenko died for Chikatilo's crimes in 1984. The killing continued for 6 more years. Chikatilo was a teacher, a Communist Party member, a grandfather. He passed a lie detector test. He looked like someone's boring uncle. When they finally caught him through a stakeout at train stations, he confessed to 56 murders. The court had to keep him in a cage during trial, not to protect him, to protect others from tearing him apart. The system that was supposed to create Soviet utopia created the perfect hunting ground instead. No independent press, no public awareness campaigns, just silence. And a man in a teacher's suit, taking the train to find his next victim. The suburban horror, John Wayne Gacy. Step back further. 1978. Des Plaines, Illinois. Suburbs, white picket fences, block parties. You're a teenager looking for work. A local contractor offers you a job. He's a pillar of the community, organizes fundraisers, dresses as a clown for children's hospital visits, poses with First Lady Rosalind Carter. His name is John Wayne Gacy, and there are 33 bodies decomposing in the crawlspace beneath his house. The neighbors noticed the smell. For years, Gacy blamed it on moisture, dead animals, sewer problems. They believed him. Why wouldn't they? He was a businessman, a volunteer, a Democrat. When police finally executed the search warrant, they found a cemetery. Young men and boys, stacked like forgotten luggage, rotting in the foundation of the American dream. Gacy never showed remorse. At his execution, his last words were, "Kiss my ass." The suburbs were never safe. You just believed the marketing. The Weimar vampire. Peter Kürten. 1930. Düsseldorf, Germany. The Weimar Republic is dying. Democracy is failing. And in the chaos, a man is drinking blood. You're a young woman walking home from the train station. A polite man offers to help with your bags. He seems kind. He walks you toward the dark. Peter Kürten attacked over 30 people, murdered at least 9. He used knives, scissors, a hammer, and after each attack, he returned to drink the blood flowing from their wounds. The city panicked. Police received thousands of tips. None led anywhere. Here's the darkest punchline in criminal history. Kürten's own wife turned him in, not for justice, for the reward money. She needed the cash. The economy was in free fall. At his trial, Kürten expressed one regret. He wished he could hear his own blood gushing from his neck after the guillotine dropped. That, he said, would be the pleasure to end all pleasures. 9 years later, Germany would plunge Europe into a world war. The vampire was just an appetizer. The devil's architect, H. Holmes. 1893. Chicago. The World's Fair. The future on display. Electricity. Progress. Hope. You're a young woman from rural America. You've come to see the wonders of the modern age. You need lodging. A charming hotel owner offers you a room at a discount. His name is Dr. Henry Howard Holmes. His hotel has 63 rooms, secret passages, soundproofed vaults, chutes leading directly to the basement, where he installed a kiln large enough to incinerate a human body. Holmes built a murder castle in broad daylight. He hired construction crews, fired them constantly, cycled through workers so no single person understood the building's true design. The city of Chicago inspected his blueprints, approved his permits, gave him a business license. Nobody noticed the women who checked in and never checked out. Holmes was handsome, successful, married 3 women simultaneously, none knowing about the others. When they finally caught him for insurance fraud, not murder, he confessed to 27 killings. Modern researchers estimate the true count exceeds 200. Progress didn't eliminate monsters. It gave them better tools. The Eternal Mystery. Jack the Ripper. 1888. London. Whitechapel. The heart of the British Empire's shadow. You're a sex worker. You have no choice. The factories won't hire women for living wages. The workhouses are death sentences. The streets are your office. Somewhere in the fog, someone is watching you. Jack the Ripper killed at least 5 women in 3 months. The brutality was surgical. Organs removed with precision. Letters mocking police published in newspapers. He was never caught. Victorian London had no fingerprint analysis, no DNA testing, no CCTV, no forensic photography standards. The police chased shadows while newspapers sold millions of copies. Every suspect has been analyzed, debated, documented. Over a century of investigation has yielded nothing definitive. The Ripper won. He walked away. He died peacefully in bed, probably decades later, his secret intact. And that should haunt you. Some monsters never face justice. They just disappear into the fog, leaving only questions that will never be answered. The Blood Countess, Elizabeth Báthory, 1609. The Kingdom of Hungary, the mountains of Transylvania. You're a peasant girl, 14 years old. A noblewoman's servants have come to your village offering employment at the castle. Your family needs the money. You pack your belongings. You wave goodbye. You will never be seen again. Elizabeth Báthory was one of the wealthiest women in Europe, related to kings, above law, above suspicion, above everything. Witnesses later testified to hundreds of deaths, girls tortured with heated coins, needles, ice water in winter. The official count, over 80. The rumored count, 650. The bloodbathing stories may be myth. The murders were not. When authorities finally investigated only because she'd killed a minor noblewoman, they couldn't execute her. Her family was too powerful, too connected. So they walled her up, bricked into a room in her own castle. Food passed through a slit. No trial, no public justice, just 4 years of darkness until she died. Nobility protects its own, even when its own is a monster. The first professional, Locusta of Gaul, 1st century AD. Rome, the center of civilization. You're an emperor, the most powerful man in the known world. You have armies, senators, gods on your side, and somewhere in the city, a woman is mixing poisons to kill you. Locusta was a professional poisoner. She worked for Empress Agrippina to kill Emperor Claudius. She worked for Emperor Nero to kill his stepbrother Britannicus. She ran a school, yes, a school to train other poisoners. When her poison was too slow on Britannicus, Nero had her beaten. She reformulated. The next dose worked in seconds. For years, she was untouchable. A state-sanctioned assassin, a service provider to the throne. When Nero finally fell, the new emperor executed her publicly, but not before she'd shaped the course of Roman history. Emperor after emperor, dead by her hand or her students' hands. The first recorded serial killer wasn't hiding in shadows, she was on the imperial payroll. You've walked backwards through 2,000 years. 7 monsters, 53 countries worth of victims if you spread them across borders. And the pattern hasn't changed. They looked normal, they had jobs, they shook hands, they smiled. The peasant, the teenager, the sex worker, the tourist, the prisoner. They all thought they were safe. They all trusted someone they shouldn't have. The technology evolved, the investigations improved, the psychology advanced. The monsters adapted. Look at your neighbor, the quiet one, the polite one. The one who keeps to himself. He's probably fine. Probably.